welcome to Second Sunday. My name is Jessica Alstrom, and I am the creator of Transcendence International Consciousness Academy. And every second Sunday of the month, I tune in to give you guys a global forecast of what is going on energetically, what is going on with the collective, what is going on with the two different matrices that we are corresponding in right now. And basically, as you guys can see behind me, I'm doing a little play on words here with Hack the Matrix, which is basically kind of like the concept of this month's Second Sunday. This Second Sunday is all about you, really, it's time for you to storm the castle. It's time for us to hack the matrix. And when I talk about two different types of matrices, what I'm talking about is I'm talking about first and foremost the matrix that holds this whole hallucination together. The hallucination of separation, of duality, of separation as far as restrictions where your belief systems and patterns are. And then there's the matrix, the field of possibilities, which we're talking quantum. And these two different matrices, one is about expansion and one is about separation and contraction. So as we are basically living in our new world, I don't know, can you look around and see, can you tell? What things can you recognize in your reality right now that feel different to you? Because we are officially upgraded to the fifth dimension. Earth herself is riding high in 5D, getting ready to integrate some 6D energy in. And we as a collective, especially the Lightworker Collective, are steadily moving into integration of that as well. But if you're looking around right now at your circumstances and events and timelines and people, places, things, and you're not seeing big changes, what is actually happening is you are stuck in your patterns. Everything that exists in your reality is patterns and belief systems. Those two things hold your hallucination together. They hold what you're able to see and what you're able to not see. They control basically the outcome of how people affect you and how you're able to create in the world. So if everything is held together by this grid, by these patterns, then how do we hack that? How can we begin to take our power back and live from a place of pure possibilities, a place of expansion and all-knowing, unlimited access to our own creativity, our unlimited access to our own psychic and spiritual gifts, and our access to the DNA that is within us, that is not here to only transform us as beings, but us as a collective, and bring us into this unified state of being, where we get to be unique but unlimited. That sounds pretty exciting, and you've probably heard every spiritual teacher on the planet talking about these times for the last 20 years. Well, these times have arrived, and now it is our job to arrive. So if our whole entire lives are basically put together through belief systems and patterns, then what we've got to do is we've got to hack our own matrix. We have to get inside of ourselves and find out where the patterns and limitations are still basically causing a perception or a perceiving of your reality to be less than you would like to see by now. As you guys know, I'm about to start my global tour, which you got to see a little bit of a commercial for. And this global tour is nothing more than me storming the castle. It is me and my army of light basically standing in the most courageous place that we possibly can in the spotlight of humanity and saying it's time for an upgrade. And it's time that we actually receive the upgrade, because all of us have access to this right now. We all have this potential waiting for us. It's about stepping into it. But because of the way the third dimensional mind is set up, everything seems like a really big deal. So I decided to play with you guys today and say, how can you storm your castle? How can you storm and hack your own matrix? The matrix of basically belief systems that's holding your world together is being reproduced by you in every moment. In every moment. It's a choice. It is a moment. But I know from experience that those choices are so hard to break, especially when our circumstances still feel like trappings. It still feels like a jail cell when we look around. And our heart that feels like it's in this cage is ready to just play and be and create and have abundance and just go on the thrill ride, because basically higher self is the healed inner child. So when we're designing this program and this tour to basically hack the matrix and raise the elevation of the vibration of the planet by holding a state of gamma for 3 days solid, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be helping you hack your matrix. When there can be enough space inside that is positive emotion instead of negative emotion, the DNA can receive the updates. So it's almost like there's this giant smartphone that is you, and it's too cluttered. It's too overpowered with apps and settings and pictures and memories and all of these things that are stored inside of it. And so it cannot receive the upgrade. It cannot receive the acceleration factor that's really pure. And so what we actually have to do is we have to get in there and we have to start deleting. We have to start reprogramming. We have to bypass our neural pathways with detours. We can't just cut off a neural pathway. I was talking about this in one of my sessions last week. And you've all heard the term quantum jumping. Well, quantum jumping is basically defined by not just interrupting a pattern, but chopping off a pattern, a neural pathway, and rewiring that neural pathway to another highway instantaneously so you can not only entertain but live in a parallel reality of your choice based on where you hopped or leaped to, which is all completely possible, and we will be doing that in endless different ways on the tour. But in your everyday life, where your five senses constantly control what you see and what you feel and what you think, we have to do it a little bit differently because you're being basically hypnotized, we will say, by your environment constantly. Your five senses are telling you where you are and where you've been. It is also telling you what you're capable of in the next moment. And really, that's a complete lie. The word belief in its true state of being means become the lie. So when we believe what it is our five senses are constantly showing us, we always live in a state of the matrix. We always live in a state of the program and the pattern that will just continue no matter what we do to change that in physical reality, because you cannot actually hack the matrix in physical reality. Physical reality is a byproduct of codes that make up your belief system, that create the hallucination of your virtual reality that you are entertaining with and in constantly. So with us being able to do that, the way we need to do that is we actually need to reroute neural pathways, interrupt the system. We need to put a detour system in the neural pathways, which what that means is if you were going down a highway and there was 100,000 cars and all of a sudden that highway ended, where would all those cars go, right? We would have to create a detour for the energy even if there was a roadblock. And that's really what we have to do when we're hacking the matrix in our 3D realities. And when I say your 3D realities, I mean with your daily job, with your relationships as they are, with your health of your body as it is, with the food you're eating right now, with the thoughts you're thinking. In that state of being, you're going to have to create a detour. But if you decide to jump on this tour with us, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be quantum leaping, which means we're going to be breaking the pattern for 3 days straight. And if you're familiar with Tesla's work, which we will actually have the Tesla technology on tour with us to help me bring in the gamma frequency for 3 days in my body, we're going to be using the numbers 3, 6, and 9 to hack that matrix. But for you guys at home that are doing it yourself, the DIY spiritual journey that we all are on, that hot mess of a journey, it is a little bit more difficult in that. So we're going to use sound. Sound is going to be our detour because believe it or not, sound can take you any place that you choose, no matter what highway you're on. Sound is one of those things that creates a detour. It is a time travel mechanism for you to be able to use at any state of the being if you're going down a road that you've gone down 1,000,000 times and you're tired of going down that road. You can use sound. Sound is how you're going to storm the castle. That is how you're going to hack the matrix. Sound is going to be the biggest transcendence that will affect the greatest amount of change on the planet for the next century. By using sound, we can bypass order and create detours within our own neural pathways that are creating our behavior so that we can set up new opportunities for ourselves. Okay? So at the end of this video, if you guys manage to get through all of it, I would love for you to stay tuned because my first single that I have recorded for this tour is called Light Body, and that will be featured at the end of Second Sunday as my little gift to you. It's available for download on iTunes, but you guys can go ahead and listen to it for free. And what I want you to do is I want you to, if you make it through the video, to put some headphones on, and I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to be able to listen to this song, not for what you're hearing as far as symbolism, but what you feel. Because what we've done is we've taken the oldest language that exists in the universe, light language, and we've put it to dance music. We've put it to rhythmic sound that helps your body move. Because believe it or not, when you're upgrading, your first response is for you to kind of hop out of your body, and it's really hard to pay, it's very hard to pay attention, and it's very hard to stay grounded when you're experiencing an upgrade. So believe it or not, music and moving the body keeps the body in alignment while receiving the download, which is why we've integrated dance and music into the tour. We've basically integrated everything that you could possibly need to not only receive a download, stay in the highest frequency that you could emit on planet Earth, create space in the body by giving you guys very special instructions before you even arrive to Miami. Miami itself, having the crystallized sand underneath us, having the Tesla frequencies and quantum water, and me and my team that will be there all weekend doing everything that we can possibly can to interrupt and recreate patterns in the quantum leaping format. So it's very, very exciting. So back to your storm of the castle. You guys can use music. So what I want to ask you is, if you took this metaphor to heart and you said, I really want to change my life. I'm really ready to be who I came to be. I'm really ready to live my loudest heart out loud. I want to create the biggest amount of change I can on the planet. And you knew that the only way you were going to be able to do that is to metaphorically storm the castle, which means take your power back, which means walk into the pattern that exists and say, we're done with this. But you only have two things. You only have two things to use as you storm this castle. One is a soundtrack. And this is a soundtrack that you choose that makes you feel unlimited and powerful. It is a song that if you were in the movie and you were about to storm a castle, it would be the song playing in the background as you were doing that. If you had one song, because you will only have one song for this little meditation, and you will have one other thing. You will have your heart. Your heart will be the only ammunition that you have. Your ability to love everything that comes at you. It will be your only sword. It will be your only gun. It will be the only way that you can slay any dragon that comes at you. And that is love. So you have a soundtrack and you have your heart. And with those two things, you can collectively and individually break any pattern and routine and belief system that is standing in your way, which is you. You're the castle that you're storming. You're the matrix that you're hacking. And it's time for you to not only take your power back, but to live as that leading role of your own life, that superhero of your story, the hero that you never had, the love that you never received, the dreams that are still waiting for you. You will rendezvous with them as you walk forward. So it's a very cool time in history. And if you're like me, you want to be able to experience it. You want your kids to be able to experience it. You want to not just create and desire a better life in your visions and your imaginations, but you want to walk into it. You want to walk through it. You want to live it. It's time for us to actually live heaven on earth, because earth is basically saying, I'm waiting for you now to catch up with the work that I've done. I have been going through my birthing pains, and it's just like the human body. If you notice that when it's time for us to heal, sometimes we get a fever. And that is about raising the temperature of our own bodies to basically burn off infection. And you've heard the idea of global warming. Well, what if Earth was actually just doing the same thing? She was in a state of purification on her own. And she is the macro to our micro. And the universe is the macro to the body's micro, which the body is the universe in motion. It is acting itself out with this super fun thing called duality, which we have an opportunity to choose what side of that duality we want to focus and live. We still will have that choice for a lot longer. We've got a lot of work to do on the planet, but the balancing point has arrived. If you guys remember, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, and 2 years ago, probably more specifically, I talked about that when fear reached a threshold where it was a balance point where love was a little bit higher potential on the planet than fear, then 5D would integrate and we would be able to act out our hearts. But really, the only thing that's standing in your way right now is this castle, is this matrix, is this evil villain, is this dragon inside of you that is telling you that you still don't deserve it, or that shame and guilt that you're carrying somewhere in your gut is still making you undeserving. It's still creating a sense of unworth. You know, the humiliation that you received as a child for being the black sheep still echoes in the back of your mind when you want to stand up and tell your truth. But that's just the echo of the past. And as long as we live in the past, we will always recreate it, no matter who you are. You're not exempt from upgrades as far as the ascension process. The ascension is a personalized, individual program, which means as a collective, we ascend, but the individual must ascend in their own universe first. So we are here to ascend with ourselves. And in Tika, I teach about the me, myself, and I, which is the me, the my ego, the I am, and the myself, which is the inner child, is the little mediator between the two angry parents inside. And your job is to basically make peace with those three selves, because those three selves create a mixed bag of vibration and frequencies within you, and those are always speaking to law of attraction. And through law of attraction, you receive law of reflection. So you're always looking at exactly where you are vibrating at any given time, how anyone is treating you, how your body's feeling about you, how your money line is, how your dreams are coming true or not. Everything is a reflection of those patterns inside. And those patterns inside are basically held together through a grid just like this. And they are basically recreating themselves with your thoughts, feelings, and emotions based on who you believe you are. So first we have to interrupt the pattern and create the detour. And the fast forward button on that is sound. Whether you clap your hands, whether you stomp your feet, any sound you create with your body or any sound that you bring into your body is going to interrupt the flow of any pattern at any time. But interrupting a pattern isn't enough, because we have to actually implement the shift that we've created. So when we interrupt a pattern, we then have to take physical action in our realities and say to the universe, I am something new. I am new. Create a neutrality effect, new to my reality, which means when you step forward with new behavior, even if it's hard, you know, martial arts always teaches discipline, and not because it's hard or you're in trouble, but because it helps you focus. It helps you focus outside of circumstances into the world of energy and chi. And when you can focus into the world of energy and chi, you can start manipulating your reality. You can start bending time. You can start shifting everything about the rules and regulations of the third dimensional matrix, which is actually put together through the program of slavery. Have you noticed that no matter how hard you work, no matter how hard you focus on things you want, no matter how much you give, no matter how much you are selfless, that your freedom is still somehow taken away? No matter how many times you change jobs or change houses or change boyfriends or change your clothes or change your weight, have you noticed that nothing really changes? It's like 10 steps forward and 10 steps back. And the reason why that happens is because you're vibrating in the third dimensional matrix. And the third dimensional matrix is only designed with one program, that you are a slave, which means no matter how much you fight, the reins get tighter. No matter how much you run away, they always find you and bring you back. We can call that our family, we can call that our obligations, we can call those our commitments. We can call those our own limitations. We can call those our diseases. We can call that our bank accounts. But whatever you call it, it is part of the program. It is designed for that. But there's another program. And the bigger matrix, the universal World Wide Web, which is the field of potential, which is the quantum field of potential, says that everything is potential. Every challenge, every situation, every thought, every limitation is actually about expansion. So going through this process of creating a global tour that I really have had no idea how to do, or, you know, anything other than my own tuition and the asking of the universe for assistance, which I have received, is what I'm finding is I'm always finding my own castle to storm in each new layer that I stand up before myself. Courage is one of the scariest things. You know, having a head full of knowledge is amazing, but if we don't implement some of that knowledge into our physical reality and help this planet awaken from the matrix, then all we are is part of the problem. Because if I keep myself from the world with my big heart and my, you know, my great efforts, who am I actually helping? I'm keeping myself in my own jail cell. So by telling your story, by standing up, by writing your book, by doing that podcast, by creating that Facebook group, by starting that website, by going on tour with me, however it is that you're doing it, what you're doing is you're standing up and you're storming the castle. And you're saying, you know what, I'm done with this old program of slavery and limitation. And I know I'm scared because I have no idea where I'm going or how it's going, because there's no rule book. The thing about 5D that I've been teaching a lot in Tika, which is our online academy, is that where we're going, there's no rules. And everything is extremely childlike. Everything is a game. So the work that I was downloaded about 2 months ago in my meditations is I was getting ready to develop some new workshops and classes for the academy, and basically my guidance team told me, Jess, you're done teaching. And I freaked out a little bit because for the past 5 years, I have shown up no matter what has been going on in my life, no matter what dark night I was in, and I have always taught my academy classes. I have always been there to mentor my students. And when they told me that I was done teaching, I freaked out a little bit because I don't know who I am without that. I don't know who I am as someone who can just show up and now be. So I had to really go back to my own workshop about my own belief systems and ask the question a little bit differently. I had to ask that question that felt limiting as a question of potential and say, what do you mean I don't have to teach? And they said to me, I'm glad you asked in a different state of being. It's not that you're done teaching. It's just time for you to play. It's time for you to show up and demonstrate. It's time for you to activate. It's time for you to create global games in the world, because if the healed inner child is basically the higher self, then the fastest way for us to heal the children, which is us, is through games. So not only am I working on the tour with just amazing, amazing people that are thousands of years ahead of their time, but I'm also developing worldwide games as a new implementation for my Tika academies. We're creating abundance games, we're creating soulmate games, heal disease games, connect with your intuition, quantum leaping games, and everything is done through a shadow work game process where the me, myself, and I, the inner child, the higher self, and the ego component of you can all get together and play this game together, because when you play a game and you use certain affirmations, tones, and questions, you not only can access parallel realities, but you can access the deepest parts of your own shadow. Because after all, we are the alchemists. And alchemists are basically those who find the gold under the dirt. We find the diamonds inside of us, but we've got to scrape through, and we've got to get everything that's out of the way that's keeping us from accessing not only our greatest potential, but our unlimited psychic gifts, our superhuman abilities. Did you know there's people all over this planet right now using 100% of their brain to not only access their own human potential, but to access new information that is only found in the Akashic Records, which is the universal Google, okay? And I'm using about 85% right now, and I'm working on my telekinesis, and I have some stories about that, especially over the last couple of weeks. And I've been doing a lot of light language recordings, and that's also helping me accelerate my own DNA activations, because I'm actually drawing the light language back into my own body to open up more and more of my DNA. For me to be able to do these tours, it's going to require me to be able to hold a lot of space. So everything that I'm saying up here to you guys that I want you to be doing, I promise you that I am also doing this myself, and it is not easy. But the cool thing about it is we have what's called the internet. So no matter how scared you are or how lonely you are going through this storming of the castle, you will always be supported with people like myself and other people, teachers and motivators on YouTube to help you through the dark nights. but they won't last for long, because as soon as we not only interrupt the pattern, but act out a different pattern, the whole reality that you're used to seeing will change. You will go from poverty to abundance, because abundance is just 4 frequency codes that I'll be teaching in the games. Did you know finding your soulmate was about actually having the perfect partnership with yourself first? Did you know that healing your body was about eliminating self-hate and self-rejection and self-abandonment? Did you know the only thing that you need to access all of your psychic gifts is the word trust? Did you know that that is the one part of the game where I'm going to be creating for you guys how to open up your intuition, your clairvoyance, your clairaudio, your clairsentient? There's 4 frequencies for that. 4 frequencies that activate all of your intuition. And the first one is I trust myself. Because guess what? Your guides are a fractal of you. Your spirit guides that you don't think are talking to you are actually a fractal of you that have different collective quantum viewpoints, so they can give you different information about you that you can't find within yourself because you're looking at a 3D reality. So your guides are actually an expression of you with different viewpoints that are constantly trying to give you those viewpoints to help you have more access in the game. So the game has changed. The 5th dimensional game is about play. It's about surrender. It's about letting go. It's about being insanely courageous, like my little son who just started kindergarten for the very first time a couple of weeks ago, and I watched how much courage it took him to walk out of the car and into those big, scary doors into his school. And I just felt all the courage that it took him to do that, and he came home and told me that he had the best day ever because he made all these new friends. And he didn't know how it was going to look or feel. All he knew is that it was going to be fun. And that's really, really what it's like right now, is we've got to get the courageous energy inside of us to walk through those big, scary doors and do the thing that we have to do that we almost can't do. The thing that it seems like the universe is constantly against you doing is the very thing you need to do because it's your heart's desire. And the only reason the universe appears to be against you is because those are the patterns and those are the belief systems that were created in your first 7 years, when you constantly heard things like, don't do that, don't say that, don't feel that, don't look like that, don't be you. And now it's time for you to show up and do that. So as you begin to do that, what you will notice is that not only your frequency will increase, your awareness will increase, your opportunities will increase, your faith will increase, because you'll be able to see the outcome. You'll be able to see what's on the other side of this. But it really is about hacking the matrix within and breaking the codes of slavery and limitation and creating space by doing a bunch of frequency games and a bunch of frequency work to eliminate shame and guilt and resentment and fear and humiliation and grief out of the human body. If we can get those 6 frequencies out of the human body, that is almost like getting rid of 4,000 memes and pictures that are stuck in your phone that are stopping your upgrade from happening, because those are memories. And we need to create new memories. You'll always have the feelings of where you are, where you've come from. But those feelings won't be associated with negative emotion when you purify yourself. You'll just have the strength that those problems created. You'll have the power in the pain. You'll have the purpose in the pressure. That's what you'll have left when you purify yourself from these energies. So it is your job. I can't do it for you, but I can definitely hold your hand and I can hold space. I've put together a university online of higher self that is basically a process of healing the inner child back into oneness with itself, so that you can get your awareness up to access infinite potential and purpose within you. But really, you've got to do it yourself. You've got to make a decision that it's time for you to have it all. It is time for you to live heaven on earth. And it's time for you to be able to step into your greatness, however that looks. If you're finding yourself still unaware of what your purpose is, that's actually coming from a filter. You know exactly who you are. You know exactly why you came. You know exactly why you chose the parents you chose, and the friends that you chose, and the twin flames that you've chosen, and the relationships that you've chosen. You know exactly why you did that, because you chose it. But There are so many filters in front of you of confusion and doubt and fear that those filters are like heavy glasses or mirrors that are in the way that just reflect the pain. They just reflect the fear. And your job is to basically break through those and work through those and move through those with sound, with courage, with intention. And the purpose for all of this is just to be happy, is just to find joy in every day, is to be able to create your reality in an abundant way, to be able to work with others without ego constantly getting in the way. Create your dreams, follow your heart. That's what you came to do. You didn't come here necessarily to be a top-selling author, but if your unique soul would like to practice their heart through that experience, because that's the greatest way that you could affect change and share your light, then that's how you do it. But it really doesn't matter how you do it. It just matters that you do it. Nothing is actually in your way. Everything that's stopping you right now is actually on your way. Everything that you feel like is a block is just on the way. And what do you think that you need to do in that block to learn from that block, train from that block, feel from that block? Is that block a heartbreak? Well, maybe that's trying to break your heart open. Maybe that's a money issue. Maybe it's your higher self telling you that you believe that you're broke. And that's incorrect. So it's going to be in your face. Any one of your shadows that needs to be eliminated right now to get into 5D is probably going to be really in your face. If you got money issues, it's probably really in your face right now. Body problems, in your face. And the reason why it's in your face is because it's the only way to actually get your attention that program is running. So it's time for us to break those programs, break the chains, and move into a space of celebration. All of this tour work that we're doing is designed in a frequency called as if. If you guys have done a lot of law of attraction training, you know that one of the frequencies to actually move forward into your dreams is to live as if. Well, these tours are designed to live as if, which means that we are showing up as higher self, and therefore we're leaving as higher self. We're not coming to the tour to become higher self. By just purchasing the ticket is one of the biggest transitions that you'll have within, because it's going to be scary for you. It may be expensive for you. You may not feel deserving or ready for it, but by just purchasing the ticket, you've already blown the charge halfway that you're ready to be who you came to be. And by showing up is the second half of that. Just taking ownership that you deserve it, that you're worthy of it, that you're safe to have it, and that you're free to experience it is the true frequencies of abundance. And those frequencies of abundance are going to help you shift into the unlimited version of yourself. All right, so I'm going to open it up for a couple of questions, if there's any. Do we have any questions so far? If not, we will, let's see. I'm just looking here real quick. Well, looks like we're a little bit frozen. Are we frozen?
Yeah, it's because the Facebook Live is running behind.
Okay. All right, well, we're just going to see if there's any comments here. Hello, everybody. It's so good to see all of you. Melanie, Christine, and Maria. Debbie, hello. Glad that you were able to host us today on your Spirituality Gone Wild. Pino, I have this struggle within me, Jess, to leave everything and to move to Italy with my original hometown. The only thing that's holding me are my kids. Okay, so that's a belief system, because in an infinite world of possibilities, there are always opportunities, circumstances, and solutions that will not only help you move, but to help in any way possible the universe to move mountains so that the kids are taken care of too. It's like I said, the matrix is designed to keep you enslaved, not through bars on your windows, but by belief systems and lack of opportunity, lack of circumstantial help. So the kids and the money and the relationships and the body health and the absence of money in your bank account are usually the 5 things that keep you from moving into your dreams. But what if those were actually part of the matrix designed to push on your heartstrings, to get in there, to say, do I really believe that I would create such limitation as an all-knowing, empowered source energy being? Or did I set this whole thing up so that I would actually have something that was going to be more challenging for myself? Because Einstein says we cannot find a solution in the problem. So as long as you're focused on the problem, Pino, there will not be a solution. So what I would recommend is using the detour trick. Getting with some really great music and asking questions like, what if? What if I could move and I could take my kids? Or what if I could do this and have this? Because the universe was not designed as this or that. This universe was designed for this and that, because it's an all-inclusive universe. But you cannot be focused on the problem and be in the vibration where the solution exists. So I recommend that you use sound to interrupt that pattern and start asking yourself questions, subconscious questions. Questions like, what if? And, and all those amazing questions that we teach in Tika. See, we teach all of this in Tika because it's all about interrupting patterns and diving down deep into the subconscious. And I just rolled out a whole new line of shadow work called Time Travel 2.0, and we're using specific music to reroute neural pathways. We're using old music and futuristic music to heal the past and create the future presence. We're using sound to interrupt all of those. We're using quantum breath, which is like a fast version of shamanic breathing, where we breathe out limitations and we breathe in potentials and we recode the cellular memory that way. And we're using sound, which means that we're using our own sounds, okay? You can use EFT as long as you focus on the correct frequencies. EFT is very powerful as long as you're not saying you're tapping for money. Money's not your problem. Money is the metaphor of the 4 frequencies, which means you should be tapping for safety, tapping for freedom, tapping for worth, tapping for deserving. You have to make sure that you find the root frequencies of what's actually in the way. And Pino, your root frequency here is freedom. The root frequency of why you came to planet Earth, which was to challenge yourself into accepting, allowing, and becoming, was freedom. You're here to create freedom of time, relationships, health, and money in your reality. And the only way that it would ever be a game or a challenge is if you had several of those things in your way. So you have to storm your own castle, you have to hack your matrix, you have to move into your own patterns, and you have to see where these limitations are actually being generated. Because believe it or not, nothing is actually outside of you. Everything is projected through this third dimensional brain, and it is received by your belief systems and is perceived by the physical body, so that you may see a glimpse of what you actually believe about yourself. Now, freedom has been a long, ongoing thing with you, Pino, since you were a little tiny boy, and now you're just facing one of your ultimate dragons, which is your kids, and they're pulling on your heartstrings. So what I would recommend is maybe watching this again, or diving into Tika, or coming onto the tour, and let's get rid of this pattern for once and for all, because you all are free beings. That is like one of the root knowings of your soul, is that I am free, that I am safe, that I am abundant, that I am worthy, that I am deserving, that I am love. Those are the frequencies that we will be using to get in integrated 5D and a 6D reality. So what is 5D? 5D is anything you want it to be at any given time. It's like if 3D was one store, 5D would be a super mall, which means that anywhere and any access that you could go to instantly through thought, through feeling, and through action. Thought, word, and deed is going to get you anywhere you want to go in 5D very quickly, which is why we have to be healthy versions of ourselves before we enter there, because anything you think is going to happen faster in 5D, which means your manifestations get much quicker, and that can be very scary if you're still focused on the problem, if you're still focused on the pain, okay? All right, Lori says, I've been writing exclusively about pain for 16 years, many books started but nothing completed. Can't decide if I need to share my wisdom or just embody it as the method to heal all, or do I talk about it like you do, or just dance? How about all of the above? Why do we constantly separate ourselves into one avenue? Why can't we be singers and dancers and coaches and mothers and teachers and CEOs and authors? Why can't we have it all? Why can't we be a little bit of multidimensional beings everywhere all the time? I never ever thought that I would ever create music. I never thought that I would actually go on tour teaching DNA activations. I was pretty okay for a really long time sitting behind a computer screen teaching about quantum physics. And then I decided, what if I could be more? What if I could have more? What if I could still be a mother of 4, have a healthy relationship, have a home, have a very normal third dimensional reality, and then have a whole other side of that where I'm writing and teaching and traveling and making music and collaborating with other teachers? You're here to have it all. So I would recommend taking the highest excitement out of all of those. What is the thing that gives you the most excitement about those scenarios? And I would start with that, because that's going to be the thread that you pull on that will take you into all of those other directions to create not just a career, but a legacy for yourself. Leave behind lots of different parts of your soul versus one part, because it's not like a 3D job where you go and you trade your soul for an opportunity. This is where you actually get to share it with the world, and I recommend that you go as big and loud as you possibly can. Any other questions? Oh, Amber says you have a bonus for VIP ticket purchases. Absolutely. Thank you for reminding me, Amber. Yeah, I was going to get into that in a minute. So basically for this tour, you know, I talked about this last month, and one of my fears that popped up in creating this tour was I didn't want to put you guys into a state of ecstasy for 3 days and then send you home to your problems. I wanted to create an integration platform, which means integration is that you actually become it. It's almost like if you took 5 different ingredients and you mixed them all together, they'd be one ingredient. That's how I want to send you home. I don't want to send you home with 5 mixed frequencies. I want to send you home complete. But you know, when you walk into your old matrix, because again, what's holding your matrix together? Your 5 senses. Your thoughts, right? And your feelings are also there, but it is your physical senses that bring you back into old memories. Hearing, seeing, tasting, touching, right? These are the things that bring the past collectively into your reality. So what we've designed is this 3-day event. Even though it is 3 days and it is the perfect amount of time for us to deliver this activation, we are offering scholarships with every ticket to Miami for a whole year of Artica University, so that you can be tapped in, turned on, plugged in, and connected with other like-minded quantum jumpers all around the world to stay in your state of being and help you create a new reality in your old reality when you come back. So we're offering those scholarships, and the VIPs are getting a lifetime membership. They're also able to have a private brunch with me on Sunday, and that private mastermind group is going to be basically whatever anybody wants it to be. It's going to be a beautiful vegan brunch that we put together in this amazing hotel, and I have done lots and lots of videos about how the flow of this weekend is going to go, so make sure that you jump on some of my other YouTube videos and watch, because I've been doing a lot of interviews about exactly how the weekend is going to unfold and how we're going to be able to hold you in this frequency for 3 days with your help, and so there's lots more to come. So wanted to make sure that I didn't miss anything else. Does religion have anything to do with the matrix? Well, the thing is, that's a really great question. So what is religion? Religion, by definition, is a structured belief system. So any belief system is a matrix, right? So there's a belief systems and there's ingredients that make something up. Now, if your grandmother gave you her recipe for her chocolate chip cookies, that recipe would be exact. And if you changed an ingredient, they wouldn't taste like that. So you have to kind of look at belief systems the same way. And anytime there's belief systems, there's going to be a collective unified field that holds some sort of memory, activity, or circumstance together. So as long as I feel unworthy, my physical reality constantly has to remind me of that through people, places, and things. Which means if I feel unworthy, that they're bound to make me feel unworthy. My circumstances will make me feel unworthy. Okay, because that's the law of reflection. So how religion shows up in this, from my perspective, since I teach quantum theory, is that religion can very easily fall into a belief system or pattern. Because a lot of times with religion, even though it's based in the truth of, of love is united form of source energy, it has been indoctrinated into a series of rules. And as soon as we put rules, we put belief systems. And as soon as we put belief systems, we create patterns. And as soon as we create patterns, we create belief systems in the essence of what you're allowed to believe in order for you to honor your God. And in quantum theory, we have basically one rule of the universe, that everything is frequency and vibration, that everything is vibrating either a negative or a positive charge, and the state of neutrality is the 0 point where you as creator get to unify your whole state of being based in how you feel about yourself. So I've never been a big fan of religion just because there's too many rules, there's too much separation, there's too much judgment, there's too much guidelines about what and how I can be. I'm not allowed to make a mistake. I'm not allowed to love someone from the different gender or sexuality. And that's never really been part of my belief systems as far as my root core belief systems. But I know thousands and thousands of very high level spiritual people that make religion work and still are able to hack their own matrix. Because at the end of the day, the matrix is just about you feeling separate from your essence of God. Your essence of truth, your essence of source energy. If you feel separate from that, that's going to create problems in your reality, and it doesn't matter what religion that you're acting that out in, okay? All right, that's a great question. How do I get people like you in my life? Never met one in reality. Well, you've met one now, so you hacked your matrix, and if you can meet with me, then I am just like everybody else. I'm just a regular old mom from Southern California who now lives in Kansas City making videos in my garage. So I'm not that special. I just have hacked my own matrix. And if you can meet me, then basically it's just a step in the right direction if that's what you're looking for. Okay. Yes, Amber, this is an awesome shirt. We have a new line, apparel line, that for our quantum tour, our quantum revolution tour, and it's our fall line, so there's going to be t-shirts, sweatshirts, and tank tops for that. We've got Hack the Matrix, we've got Straight Outta Quantum. We will put the apparel link in the comment section on YouTube and on Facebook if you guys want to jump on and get your shirts for the tour. We have lots more coming, and they're a great price, and the money will go back to the Academy and to the tour to enable us to be able to go all around the world and activate the human population into the matrix and field of potential. Okay, anything else before we wrap? Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me and hanging out with me on Second Sunday. You know it's my highest joy to be here with you guys and be able to give you some tidbit of what's going on. But I wanted to end with this because I forgot to make this very important statement that today is 999. Today is the gateway of completion, which means the number 9 is about completion. And when we have 3 9s, which is that universal healing number, this is the perfect day for you to say goodbye to what you are not anymore, to let go of limitation, to let go of suffering, and decide to create some detours today and some new habits and new routines, and use some good self-love, tough, loving discipline to be able to not only interrupt your patterns, but to move into a new state of being. Because just because it's 9999 today, basically, we've got 999, which is 9918. You also still have a choice. So you can take this gateway, or you can go back into the past and still recreate old programs. And remember that all pain is a messenger. All lack of abundance is a messenger. All conflict is a messenger. Okay? Nothing is actually against you. It's just getting your attention in the best way that it can. It's the path of least resistance. And we are such stubborn people because we're always so hypnotized by our own matrices that we don't see potential in front of us all the time. So it takes us getting smacked in the head, or a lost job, or bankruptcy, or whatever we're creating in the moment to wake up and decide to live more from our heart and take better care of ourselves and our lives and our choices and our outcomes, and And that is what it's all about. So happy 999 and enjoy the gateway. It's a great opportunity for our second Sunday to land on this day, the new moon in Virgo. And what is Virgo? Virgo is the perfect definition between common sense and academia. So this would be a great version of you inside there to bring forth, where you can have that common sense and the academic knowledge and be able to kind of live in both worlds while you're creating your new reality. Thank you guys so much for attending. I hope to see you all in Miami. Last thing about my song we're going to play for you at the end is this is an activation. We created this song to help open and expand the light body inside, which means open and accelerate DNA activation. So the song is light language. Yours truly, trying to sing on there, but it is light language and it has a beautiful soundtrack over it. And if you listen to it with headphones, it will create a left and right synchronization of the brain hemispheres to create a very important impact into that pineal gland and into your frontal cortex, so that your nervous system will get the download, the body will get the connection. And if you listen to it twice a day, in the morning and at night, with a powerful intention, set your intention, visualize the infinity symbols. That is my gift to you as this month's activation. Thank you guys so much. We'll put tour information there. We still have some tickets left for Miami, and we will be releasing our next tour date probably in the next 3 weeks. But we want to make sure that you all get to Miami first, because this is our Atlantis journey back home. It's going to be a family reunion. If you felt like you were ever in Atlantis, then you will probably find yourself in Miami with me, because 14,000 years ago, we were all under the same roof on top of that crystalline sand, and we were working in DNA activations. So until then, you guys, I will see you in the classroom. I will see you on Facebook. I will see you on YouTube, and I will see you on the tour.
Bye.